Want to talk a little bit about your closing situation. And, I'm kind of reading in between the lines things you've been saying since the season ended. And you have, a lot of high hopes for a player like Jake Diekman to potentially slide into that role depending on whatever else happens in terms of free agency. We know that the 2020 he had and the reliability speaks for itself. But that wasn't in a closing role. From your vantage point, does that immediately translate if, in fact, he is put in that closing spot? And also the fact that he'd be a left-handed closer for you.
Yeah, well, we know those last 3 outs of the game are always the toughest to get. And it's funny, look, as long as I've been doing this and as long as I've been talking to the media, even I can be surprised by headlines at times. And the fact that, last week the takeaway was like, Diekman is going to be the closer. I had to text Bob and be like, no, I didn't make a proclamation. But what I did say was that as well as Jake pitched in 2020 and as reliable as he was, there's no reason he couldn't pitch at the end of the game based on what we saw. It's interesting you bring up the fact he's left-handed because since Sean was here, we haven't had a left-handed closer, and we also know how valuable the matchups are in the 7th and 8th inning. And in fact, that's what Bob said to me. He said, if he does close, can he also pitch in the 7th inning? Because we know how great he is there. So look, we're lucky to have Jake for another year, considering what he did in 2020. There's a number of other guys there in Wendelken and Lou and, Birch hopefully coming back healthy, like guys who have experience pitching in the 7th, 8th inning. So I think it's a good place to start. It's obviously, the bullpen is a place we know we have some work to do.
And it does seem like arms might be a strong point in terms of the pipeline. And I just look at the alternate training site that was in San Jose this past summer. There do seem to be a lot of names and faces I'm interested to see if they can make the leap maybe for this next year. Is that kind of what you're planning on?
Yeah, it is. And look, things never go the way they look on paper. But on paper right now, we have a starting staff. We have those guys in the bullpen. But you do have a group of Jeffries, Caprillion, Holmes, the 2 guys we added to the roster in Romero and Wanderson Charles. And we've signed a handful of minor league free agents, guys who Jordan Weems last year, sort of came out of nowhere to be on our team. And Jordan's obviously still a candidate to be in that group. So there's a depth of arms, maybe not experience, but certainly talent.
I just like Jordan Weems' hair. I mean, I was mesmerized by that before he even threw a pitch.